When I was in cognitive behavioral therapy at Pasito's clinic, at first it was just me and the therapist Luis. However, later on he decided to put me and several other boys in group therapy because he wanted us to interact. One of the kids in the group was named Raul Florido. What made Raul unique was that he was tough. He frequently told us about his experiences of being incarcerated and his animosity towards the police. He even made up a rap song that went, "I smell bacon, I smell grease, oh snap, it's the El Paso police." So we knew that he could get aggressive, and the main reason he ended up in the county jail was because he had a habit of hitting people whenever he would get mad. Raul was tall and fat. But when I say fat, I don't mean the fluffy kind. I'm talking about fat as the strong type, like Andre the Giant. I remember when we were introduced to each other, his mom told my mom while they were waiting in the waiting room that they used to live in the same housing complex we live in, and that's how our moms became acquainted. Another thing we all knew about Raul was that he resided in the northeast side of El Paso, and northeast El Paso is notorious for being a hotspot for violent crime, so it made sense that Raul would behave like that and have that kind of attitude. Raul and his mom used Project Amistad, which is a bus company that provides transportation to medical appointments such as dentists, therapists, primary care doctors, etc. And that's how we were able to make it to and from therapy. Raul often talked about God, and he was a member of the Abundant Living Faith Center. It was funny because he often lectured us about how to make better choices and be good people. However, he would never practice what he would preach. I was still in high school, attending Eastwood, and while at Eastwood, I discovered a website called Wikipedia, where there's articles about almost everything. And earlier in the 2013 to 14 school year, junior year, I had created a Wikipedia account, and one thing I noticed about Wikipedia is something called vandalism, where someone would edit the article to write something stupid. And one time I was on Wikipedia researching the song So Sick by singer Neo, and I looked for vandalism on the history page, and someone put "I farted" at the bottom of the page, and I started laughing my ass off. From that day forward, I would randomly announce that I farted, but actually didn't. I was just trying to be funny. And when I would say that in therapy in front of Raul, he would always look all mad. Circa July 2014. It was a Saturday morning when we had group therapy. At the clinic, there was this large room that was normally used for physical therapy, but on Saturdays, Luis would use this room for group therapy. Once again, I was fooling around and I announced I farted, and Raul was sitting next to me and he said, Martin just farted in my face. Then he started growling like a dog. He then left the room, and Luis and the other therapist, Roberto, were still preparing for the session. Raul came back complaining that one of the guys, John Pierre, left the restroom smelling bad, and he had a piece of paper towel in his hand. In that situation, you would think that if I was the one who provoked him, he would go after me. But for some reason, Raul started getting mad at Luis. So he left again, but before doing so, he threw the paper towel at Luis. Raul came back and Luis told him to sit down and calm down. He sits down and starts complaining that one of the guys, Sabby, was just looking at him. And after telling him to stop looking at him, for real, Luis told him to move somewhere else, but Raul left the room again. A few moments later, Raul came back with his hands black, telling Luis, "You're gonna have a hard time getting home without any gas." Luis, believing that Raul had done something to his Harley Davidson motorcycle, warned Raul, "You better not have tampered with my bike," and ordered Roberto to check to see if anything was done to his motorcycle. While Roberto went outside, Raul and Luis were standing by the door arguing, and Raul grabbed the baseball bat that was hanging by the wall and threatened to break a mirror that was behind him. He even said, "I could hit one of these guys right now." I started giggling, and Luis caught me and he said, "It's not freaking funny that this bitch is getting mad at me for something that you did." I looked down, and even though I didn't actually see it, apparently Raul punched Luis, as Luis was like, "That is assault, dude. That is assault." Then Raul was like, "So, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck." And you could tell that he was getting more and more angry, and that's when it got scary. Luis then said, "I can call the cops right now, dude, and tell him how you're acting." Raul then said, "Nah, you're stupid. No wonder they didn't want your ass at." He then said it again, "Nah, you're stupid." And as he said it, he started feeling helpless. He then dared Luis to hit him back, and Luis was like, "It's my decision, dude." He then tried to leave again, but Luis blocked the door and used a fancy word. Raul then said, "God isn't even on your side. God isn't even real." Roberto came back and said that Raul didn't do anything to his bike. Luis and Raul left the room, and a few moments later, Luis sat Raul down and made him apologize to us. He then explained that the reason he kept coming in and out was because he was getting on top of the roof because he was gonna kill himself. He then explained that he didn't do anything to his bike, that he rubbed his hands on some black stuff and said that just to scare him. Luis explained that he had to meet Raul in handcuffs and that he loved him and kissed him, although he kept reminding him that he hurt our feelings. Then when we got on the bus, he was conversing with the driver like nothing happened. When we got home, I told my mom about it. If you ask me what I was thinking during the whole time I was watching that, I kept saying to myself, "What did I just do?" After that, Luis was never the same. And in fact, if I thought Luis was bad then, after that, he became like Satan. And his clinic thus became like the lake of fire.